I don't bash celebrities anymore. I used to do that a lot. And then when he did this, I felt like I was a Western and I had retired my guns. And Seinfeld calls me out to the town square and I go, okay, I guess I got to get I don't want to do this. I'm out of the game. But I put my 45s on and I was like, Jerry, you really don't want to get into a bashing thing with me. It's not going to be pretty.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Korey here, and another interview today. And if I seem like I'm in a rush, it's because I am. I got to get into this. So many technical problems, and you know, guys, I never have these problems with anybody else. You know this. They don't know this. They don't believe me, but you know this.
Yeah, this is the second time we've tried to do this interview. I kind of think it might have to do with that both Dana and I have metal plates in our heads.
Okay, then.
So it could be messing up your magnets or something.
Well, I would definitely blame you then if that's the case. Hey, everybody, you can see there's Bobcat Goldthwait and Dana Gould. You probably caught a glimpse of him. Bob has it going a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and just jump into this. So these guys have a road trip documentary that's coming out. Joyride, and that's going to be out on October 29th. I'll go ahead and give you guys just a quick glimpse of this. This is going to be available on demand and in theaters, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah. Also, we'll come to your house and do the two-man show.
We have no shame about it whatsoever.
Hey, yeah. It might be better than trying to do it on a computer, man, as much trouble as I've been having. But here's a glimpse at the documentary.
I didn't know that you were crazier than me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Bob Scratch Goldfarb.
And I'm Detective Joe Friday.
A funny thing happened on the way to the show. I had a
concussion.
I had a concussion. Thank you.
So you can see these guys, they seem like they're very much friends, but also in some parts of the documentary, they look at each other and say, you know, I really used to hate you, and I'm not sure if that's still not the case. But let me go ahead and just jump in.
That would be right at the very beginning of the documentary.
But then I learned in the course of the tour that Dana, it wasn't just like two guys that didn't get along. I was so vicious to him, he was actually terrified of me.
Well, I think I hear that about a lot of people when they refer to you, man.
I know, and then I hear people say that I'm a nice guy. I mean, it's so confusing. So so it explores that, and it explores the fact that we're two guys that, you know, I would say I had a breakdown on camera, and Dana had a mental breakdown, and it was also around the same time. So Dana went and got hospitalized, and I went and set the Tonight Show on fire. So the movie kind of explores that, and the fact that both of us have come out from the other side. I think we've grown up, and we have a friendship, I think that's probably stronger and closer than a lot of other friendships, because we have been through all the same stuff, and eventually I apologized, hopefully in the correct manner.
Yeah, well, you almost killed him, so I hope that you're pretty close with each other after that.
Bob didn't like who he was on stage, and I couldn't deal with who I was off stage.
Okay, so you guys are kind of like therapy for each other in a way.
Definitely.
Yeah, you know what? Well, I'm gonna, you know, I'd say that, or you say, and I just agree with you that people seem terrified of you, and you know, and blah blah blah. But I was talking to Tom Kenny not too long ago, man, and you know, if anybody who knows any history about you guys, they know that you are close.
I was there when that photo was taken.
Were you there when that photo was taken?
I was there when that photo was taken.
Yeah, you see them, and you see the love right there, man.
I've known Tom Kenny since I was 6 years old. And folks who don't know, Tom Kenny's the voice of SpongeBob SquarePants. But we met because we were in two separate first grades, and I had made the nun that was my teacher have an actual breakdown, and she was crying and dragged me into his class, and she's hyperventilating, going, "I can't take him anymore." And Tom Kenny thought it was great that I could make a grown nun cry, and he introduced himself to me during lunch. And I'll give you an idea how my ego works. Even then, as a kid, I saw Tom Kenny, and he had, like, you know, big horn-rimmed glasses, and he weighed about 40 pounds. And I was like, I got to be this guy's friend. he's doomed. It was like being in prison. I was like, I gotta take this guy under my wing. He's not gonna make it through this.
Well, the guy loves you. I can tell. He spoke so adoringly of you, man, for a long time, and gave me the whole story about how you two knew each other when you were 6. I think he told me about how you drove a nun crazy. So
yeah,
you know, this is confirmed right here, man. But let's talk about hate with you guys. You know, you guys are, like we said, you know, you were talking about how in the documentary how you know, I hated you at one time. I didn't know you hated me at one time. I didn't really like you either. And so, how much of this do you play up, and how much of this is true?
Oh, it's real, and
it's all real. It's all real.
And without sounding too egotistical, as somebody who likes to tell stories, I was kind of happy to learn about this and explore this, because then it gave the documentary, the comedy show, a bit of a narrative instead of it just being straightforward 2 guys doing stand-up comedy.
Nice.
And as much as I apologize to him, I think Dana has this thing in his head where he you know, if you tell Dana he's great or that you love him, he can't hear it. So I don't know if he's ever even heard my apologies. So I had to make a whole movie where I apologize just to try to get it through his head.
Hey, whatever it takes, man. In a way, that's actually shows how much you like the guy. You made a whole movie just to appeal to him, man. Nobody's ever done that for me. No one has hardly ever done.
First,
you know,
first he put his own life at risk in a ham-fisted attempt to kill us both in a car accident. And
then I think Dana actually didn't want me to apologize and caused that accident.
Kind of willfully made it happen, man.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm going to get to you, Dana, in a little bit. Since Bob is saying that he has to go, I'm just going to start referring to him for questions, if you don't mind, for just a little bit.
Whatever you need to do.
Okay, because I have plenty to ask you and say to you. That doesn't sound good. I got things to say to you, man. But no.
Where do you get off?
You son of a bitch! Don't you go anywhere. So
I feel like I'm married again.
yeah. It seems like Bob. It seems like you're one of the hardest working directors out there, man. That really no one actually knows. I mean, they know probably how much you work, but once you go through all your credits,
I agree. I mean, I don't think folks know that I direct and directed on a lot of things. You know, I directed the Jimmy Kimmel Show for 3 years. I was one of the first directors on Chappelle's Show. I did like specials for Patton Oswalt, Mark Maron, Ron Funches. It goes on and on. And then I've made 9 movies, but my movies make hundreds of dollars. You know, so I love being behind the camera. I love telling stories. This was actually weird for me to be in the thing that I was making, because it is funny that, like, when I saw the footage, I realized, oh, I have to be the villain in this. So my ego got beaten out by my storyteller. The part of me that wants to be a storyteller had to make myself look in an unflattering way.
Well, everybody loves a villain, man. So, you know, you still can't on top, you know. I got to tell you, though, I've followed your work for a while and did not realize how much you were doing behind the camera as far as like television shows and everything. Of course, you know, I mean, you say your movies make hundreds, but over time, they must be making millions.
The thousands.
Yeah, you must be making thousands at this point, man. Because you know, I love Shakes the Clown. One of your movies, and actually, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. One of your movies, it actually took me a while to like, because I saw it and I hated it, not because it was terrible, but because it just pissed me off so bad.
Which one was that? Oh, World's Greatest Dad.
Just 9:30. We can go to a video store, get a movie.
Are you stupid? I hate watching movies.
Kyle's a complex guy. Put on some music you like, Kyle, okay?
No, I hate music.
You hate music?
Yeah.
All music?
You know, the only thing queer than music are the people who like it.
You know, it took me a while because first of all, you did too good a job with it.
With Daryl.
Daryl Sabara, man.
Yeah, he's so unlikable in that movie. He and he came in and auditioned and he just acted like that in the audition. So I was like, well, I think I could make this movie if I got that kid because he was so good, but I don't want to hang out with him because he seems like a horrible person.
Yeah.
So I asked him to come back in. And I said, well, I just want to know what he goes, no, that's an act. Like he had learned, he thought he was good. He just came in and never broke character. He just was that dick. When he came in.
Well, no wonder.
Yeah. And then when I found out
he
he was a really sweet guy, because I called around and people said, no, Daryl's really sweet. And I was like, he hasn't been in my office. So yeah, I think when you watch the movie, you think it's going to be these two becoming friends, and in a very weird, subtle way, they kind of do. It's hard to, but you know, it is a dark movie, but I feel it's a movie about a middle-aged guy taking responsibility for his life, So making it with Robin was an amazing experience. Robin thought he was going to play like the principal. He goes, can I read the script? And then, so he thought he was going to help me get it made by playing a part. And then when he read the script, he said, I'd like to be Lance. And I was like, wow, so I think if I was going to write a movie for Robin, I wouldn't have went with an English teacher. I think he already did that pretty well. But,
well, he did this great too, man. And it is a great film. And, it took me a while it just took me a while to really appreciate the dark comedy in it and how much you committed to it and just, the actual message behind it or the meaning behind it. But, that's a narrative. But you've directed, again, so many things, including late night talk shows. My question is, because I think I know directing for narrative features, but for a talk show like Jimmy Kimmel, where there's so much variety and so many segments, how do you direct something like that?
Yeah, and when I started the show, we were doing it live, like with just a 7-second delay. So it's a lot like landing a plane in a language you don't know. There's so much going on, but it's a lot like stand-up comedy where you just, you keep watching the show, and when you're on stage doing stand-up, you're kind of going, okay, I'm going to do this bit, I'm going to get to that bit, I'm going to do that, and when you're directing a live television show, you go, we're going to do this, then we go to that, and then we go to that. But I love directing people's specials, and I loved working on Kimmel because it's like watching people that you respect and trying to present them in a way where they're fun. Like, Ron Funch's special was one of the last things I did, and Ron loves wrestling, and he's like, well, can we put a little wrestling in it? And I was like, we can put a lot of wrestling in it. And he comes out, I mean, it looks like something right out of WrestleMania. So, just trying to facilitate. Sometimes it's like visually trying to facilitate how they see it, and other times it's helping a little bit shaping bits and stuff, and then other times it's getting out of their hair and just telling them they're going to do a great job.
That's why I think you really deserve the respect for directing and more, man, because a lot of people, they can direct one, maybe two formats, and you've directed, you've adapted to so many different kinds, and you just mentioned right here, anywhere from movies, narrative films, documentaries, late night talk shows, and right here we're talking about comedy specials. You talked about Patton Oswalt, Mark Maron, Ron Funches. So you've also helped a lot of comedians along the way, man. And when you do these specials, are you picking who you would like to work with, or are they coming to you, or is it a combination of both?
Oh no, it's usually like it's different. Like sometimes they'll come to me, but then other times it's someone who's my friend and it's just a natural extension. Sure, let's go do this, But I have had a strange history of working with people and being able to spot talent before they become big, like Adam Sandler was in Shakes the Clown, and I worked on a show with the Lucas brothers and Lil Rel and Jermaine Fowler, and when I was on that TV show, Friends of the People, I remember saying, you guys are going to be big stars. And they said, oh, you think the show's that good? I go, no one's ever going to see the show we're making. But I could just, but just being around Rel and Jermaine and the Lucas brothers, it was just like, oh, this is like, I'm old enough to be able to go, oh, I've seen this before. These people are all going to be huge, you know? And I was so excited when the Lucas brothers got nominated for an Oscar. It was so cool. I was just so happy for him.
You're like a godfather, man. You're like a godfather of comedy. You know, you've helped all these people to come up and everything. Hey, look, we're talking about, again, a lot of love, a lot of things that you've done, a lot of talent. A comedian that you probably will not be working with anytime soon. And you know what I'm talking about. And, man, I had to ask this because I did not, all these years, I did not know this. I found this out while just going around looking for information on you guys, anything I missed on you, small details. Yeah. And a Jerry Seinfeld clip popped up. And I'm going to play it right here.
Yeah.
You know, I'm good friends with that's his best
I don't
friend.
like him at all. He used to rail against comedians because they weren't as wild and dangerous as he was, because he sucked.
Okay, so I'm not one to bring up dirt. I'm not looking for.
No, it's funny because that clip is really funny because that veiled reference to him. I know what he's talking about. I wasn't talking about him. But you know, it's weird that he's making my poor friend Bridget squirm, and you know, I truly hadn't said anything negative about the guy in years. And by the way, I was vicious to the guy. Also, it's funny. It's like it's weird that he bleeped me out, but people eventually figured out who he was talking about. But you know, as I said in the documentary, you know, Jerry Seinfeld finally has an opinion, and it's about me. But I just feel like I don't bash celebrities anymore. I used to do that a lot, and then when he did this, I felt like I was a Western and I had retired my guns. And Seinfeld calls me out to the town square, and I go, "Okay, I guess I got to get my. I don't want to do this. I'm out of the game." But I put my 45s on, and I was like, "Jerry, you really don't want to get into a bashing thing with me. It's not going to be pretty, you know."
Yeah.
So he says all that about me, and then
so that was never about him. When what he was referring to, when he said you were talking about him, that was never about him.
Well, on that time, but trust me, I was vicious to the guy. I mean, I used to really point out that he was banging a 17-year-old girl a lot and other things about him. So then people had to Google us, and then they go, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that." But I really don't wake up in the middle of the night going, "Oh, Seinfeld, you drive me crazy." But it's, you know, I think this is an evidence of a sore winner. You know, the guy has a TV show and then he takes the time out of it to ridicule me. And honest to God, like, I really thought we were good, but apparently hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars can't buy you happiness.
And I'm not trying to bring up old things, man. I really wasn't trying.
I don't do
that.
I'm willing to be a part of.
Yeah. Give me a few $100 million and see if like there's some guy from like, you know who drives me nuts is that guy that was in Porky's.
And I really thought that for a while myself. I was like, wow, this guy must be a billionaire at this point with all the money that's coming through, and it's still little things bother you. I guess you're right. Money does really not buy you 100% complete happiness. And you asked my question. I don't know if you guys have made amends. I was just curious. I had never seen this before, so I'm sorry to bring something like that up.
The answer to that is no.
Okay.
Oh,
awesome.
I'm very excited. I'm going to be in the next season of Comedians in Cars getting coffee. It's very exciting. I take the car and drive Jerry and I into a brick wall.
Well, you already tried with somebody that you actually like. So
I know.
Now I feel jilted.
Comedians in Cars getting concussions.
Maybe you can make.
I apologize so much. I got to jump off, but so nice. And thank you for all the kind words. That was really sweet, Korey. And I hand you over to my attorney.
Okay. All right. Hey, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, it's just me and you now, Dana.
That's bad mouth, Bob.
Let me see here. Let me catch up a little bit. And, I got plenty to ask you, man. I wish Bob had stuck around because I did have more kind words about him, but referring to both of you, actually, because
let's not swell his head.
Anymore. Okay, then. Let's swell yours, then. As dirty as that sounds. But you, and both of you, just referring to you now, What I like about you guys, and again, just you at this moment, is that you both seem like a lot of fun. And you seem like a genuine guy. You know, you in particular, not afraid to get silly, man. I actually enjoy hanging with Dr. Z, man. That's where
thank you very much.
Dr. Zayas, you know, because you do Dr. Zayas, the voice on The Simpsons.
Yeah, I did. Well, I didn't do the voice in The Simpsons, but I wasn't. I think Dan Castellaneta or Hank Azaria did his voice in The Simpsons. I developed that as a character, as a way to do something completely unrelated to my stand-up, which people have said is dark, or heavy, which I don't see. I just do what I think is funny. But Dr. Z is an idea that took a long time to get to where it ended up. I was just playing Dr. Zayas from Planet of the Apes like an old actor from the 60s and 70s that was in that movie, but he's been in 100 other things. And all he does is name drop and talk about old Hollywood. And that's an area of interest of mine. I just find those stories really fun and funny. And we did it as Rob Cohen, was my writing partner on the Ben Stiller show. And he had this idea. He goes, why don't you do it as a talk show? And we did it during the pandemic. And our theory was, what can we do during the pandemic that will cost a lot of money and put us at risk of being sued by Disney? So we came up with Hanging with Dr. Z, and we just finished shooting the second season. It just started to go into post-production, and will be premiering in February of 2022 with 11 more episodes. But what was interesting is when we started doing it, we did, because the sort of, we would tell people it was like Between Two Ferns.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would be kind of snarky and passive aggressive, which is the language of Between Two Ferns. And we found it didn't work. In fact, at one point we just stopped and went like, stop. This isn't working. It's not your fault. It's my fault. Because it's more Sam. And then we wrote on a big whiteboard in big, Sammy, because it's Sammy Davis Jr. It's like, here's the argument. You think you love me more? I think I love you more. That's the argument. And we loved that it was just really positive and sweet and silly and stupid. And we thought that especially during the election and the pandemic that people really needed it. And we were right. And I really enjoy doing it. I enjoy having the outlet for doing stuff that's really stupid, because that's my favorite kind of comedy, is smart stupidity.
No, it's very funny, man. I've watched a few of these. I mean, just being a big fan of Planet of the Apes, but I just think that this take on this, and I think you put it right, like a old time talk show host from like the 60s
like
and
Merv
70s,
Griffin.
man.
It's like stuff that we used to watch after school.
Yeah, where they can be snarky but not completely mean spirited, in a way.
Yeah.
Can I show people a clip of this, because I really
My permission.
Yeah, if you haven't seen this, people, it's really funny.
It's on YouTube. It's just called Hanging with Dr. Z.
Jerry Lewis is just the opposite. On camera, he was your friend, and off camera, and I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say this. Off camera, he was worse than a million Hitlers.
I don't know if that's a form of measurement.
It is in Dr. Z's America.
And I love the way you put the laugh track on and everything, man.
Yeah.
So
and it was funny. We had 10 guests the first season, and you could tell like the people that knew how to it took some people 5 minutes to get into the rhythm of what it was. Everybody was good enough that they adapted quickly, but Bob and the actress Steven Weber, those guys hit the ground running from the first frame. It was such a pleasure. And in the second season we have Penn Jillette, Weird Al Yankovic, Dave Foley, Hannah Einbinder, Maria Bamford. We have Gary Anthony Williams. We have tons of amazing guests in the second season.
Yeah.
We're really excited about it.
I've described
And
the show
lots
to
of new
people.
ugly vintage jackets.
Oh no, but first of all, I love that whole motif anyway. And I've described this show to people when I've told them to watch it. I said, and especially when I'm talking to younger people, I say, think of a more self-aware, more competent, a more smarter Space Ghost. If you've seen Space Ghost,
that's very much the model of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very and with Hugh Hefner's wardrobe guy from
Yeah,
1960.
a lot, a sexier, cooler Space Ghost, man. So, but
Space Ghost, by the way, is one of those things. There are a handful of things. Space Ghost is one of them. The Andy Griffith Show is one of them. I put it on and I'm in a good mood.
yes, yeah, no, man, it's people
Put it on, I'm in a good mood.
No, people should definitely watch it. It's funny, man. Like I said, I appreciate the, just people being silly but not completely stupid with things. It's a lot of fun.
Smart. I mean, Monty. I'm not comparing myself at all, but Monty Python. I mean, they really could do very smart, stupid stuff. I love that.
Yeah, but you seem also very diverse with what you do and some of the projects that you approach. I mean, we were just talking about, something very kind of goofy and fun like Hanging with Dr. Z. But now, I've been watching Creep Show. Actually, it's one of my favorite movies. So of course, I've gravitated towards the series. And
that's right.
Yeah, you were in the episode Skin Crawlers. Now, if I'm correct, you
that's
also
a fat suit. That's not me. That's a fat suit.
Okay. Hey, I was not questioning and not going to question now. Yes, if you say so. Look good to me, by the way.
Thank you.
But
I acted in the first season and I wrote an episode in the second season.
Yeah, you wrote the was it Night of the Living Late Show?
Night of the Living Late Show, yeah, which was an idea that I had for a long time.
Yeah, so you've been like a lot of comedians today, man. You've kind of started dipping your toes in horror, man. And
well, I was always a horror movie fan. Before I was a comedy fan, I was a horror movie guy. I loved watching old school horror movies. There was a magazine when I was a kid called Famous Monsters of Filmland. It was before the internet, and that was like where you went if you were a horror movie fan. And like that was my stuff. And my original show business goal was I wanted to be an actor because I wanted to be in horror movies. I didn't want to be in anything else. Like I want to be an actor, but I want to be in horror movies. Then I got into comedy in my teenage years and started focusing on comedy. But even as I got into being a writer and a performer, my theory was I will become a writer and I will write a horror movie and I will put myself in it. And eventually I did that. I had a show called Stand Against Evil on IFC, which was a horror comedy. At the same time, Bob had a horror comedy on Hulu, I believe, called Myths and Monsters. Misfits and Monsters. I'm sorry, Myths and Monsters is a different show. Misfits and Monsters. We had similar shows on at the same time. Mm-hmm. But I wrote myself a character in my horror show and I put me in it.
No, that's the way you should get done. If you got that kind of pull, got that kind of power, got that kind of means, you should definitely take advantage of it.
The smart actor is the actor that becomes a producer and hires themselves as an actor.
Yeah. So now that you've already started, doing a lot of things with horror, you've always loved horror.
Right.
You're gonna go and approach Blumhouse Pictures, maybe try to get a.
I do have an idea for Blumhouse right now. I'm actually finishing a film about Watergate of all things, which is a different kind of horror story. And then I am moving on to an idea that would be perfect for Blumhouse, and I'm very excited about it. Based on a true story.
Oh, nice. So I guess you can't reveal anything, not even a hint.
No, I can't. And I wrote another horror movie that aired last year on the Sci-Fi Channel called. It was they changed the title and I can't remember the other time. I think it was called. It was about evil toys. It was the original. It was about a family that's attacked by their Christmas toys.
Nice, man. So it sounds like you're primed and ready to like really go kind of full-fledged with horror at this point.
It's my main area of interest. I love that stuff.
Nice. For something like for all the projects that you've done now, I guess you've always pitched all of those because you've done a lot of horror at this point.
Yeah. Well, I'm very lucky. I'm really good friends with Greg Nicotero, who's the executive producer of The Walking Dead and Creep Show and stuff. And we've worked together on many projects going back into the 90s. I would always hire Greg when I had a show. I had a show with my partner Rob Cohen, who does Dr. Z with me. We did a show called Super Adventure Team, which was the movie Team America before the movie Team America that aired on MTV in the late 90s. And Greg's company built the puppets for it. And we're just very good friends. And when Creepshow came along, he's like, would you want to be in an episode? And I said, yeah. And he's like, well, the money. I was like, look, I'll pay you whatever you need. Just let me come down and do it. So it was. I was really happy to do it, and it's great to, as a testament. Joyride is another example. It's great to work with your friends.
No, that is a really cool thing when you're able to work with your friends on big projects too. That a lot of people will see, man. That's
yeah.
It's.
I don't know if I'll ever have one of those, but I try.
Well, not with that attitude, you won't.
Well, I guess The Simpsons counts. I think people have seen that.
I've actually followed you for a while without even knowing that you were in certain things. I remember that there was a project I used to work in an animation studio, and I remember a friend of mine who I worked with there. He says, yeah, I'm moving out to LA, man. I'm going to be working on this crazy project about these lions, Siegfried and Roy.
Siegfried and Roy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Father of the Pride.
Father of the Pride. He was like, yeah, these, it's behind the scenes thing with the lions. We follow their lives and their families and people. And
I worked on that, right?
Yes, you did, man. You were a snail on that. You were somebody named, your name on there was Hilarious.
Yeah, Hilarious. That's right.
Wow,
That's
it's funny.
right.
See, you've done so much you don't even remember. Hey, let me give you a refresher real quick.
Also, Rob Cohen. Rob Cohen is.
I started to cry. My boss said I can't watch a grown man cry, so I gave him a blindfold. Kapow!
I like the way it's coming back because while that snail was talking, you were also doing the words.
Oh yeah, no, I know. Oh yeah, I remember this. But again, that came through that, as a great Rob Cohen. Rob Cohen was right around Father of the Pride. That's how I got that.
Wow, so you and Rob Cohen have actually collaborated on a lot of things.
Yeah, we worked together. We're working right now and hanging with Dr. Z.
So I believe that that was NBC at the time.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, Father of the Pride was on NBC. And then I believe, unfortunately, Roy had his tragic accident in the middle of it. And they was like, maybe we shouldn't show this.
Yeah, I remember that. That's why. When my friend, he had just left, and they offered him a lot of money to stay, and he's like, "No, I'm working for NBC," and then the whole thing got canceled. And I was like, "Oh wow!"
Whoever thought that, like, hey, bad news.
Yeah,
we're taking the show off. What happened? Lion attack. What?
Yeah, it's like Aquaman drowning or something, man. How
does that affect the television show?
Yeah. But there were so many other things that you were doing back at the time where, comedians were given a lot of opportunities, man. I think.
Oh boy, the gravy train days of the late 90s.
Yeah, because now, we're talking about NBC, but I think it was Fox because Fox was giving a lot of comedians series at the time, and they approached.
Well, it was the height of Seinfeld, the show Seinfeld, and they wanted to replicate that, so they. Anybody that at 5 minutes would get money to do a pilot.
So do you remember the pilot that you did?
Pilots. I had. Hang on 1 second. Is there anything in there that I need? I have to think. Okay, I think everything's out. Okay, but I have this because I need this. Okay, all right. Drive safe. Okay. Sorry. Not very professional.
Oh, no. I thought I was in trouble.
No. That's my better half.
Pilots.
Yeah, I had Dana, which was a pilot written by Jace Richdale. And then I had Nice Try, which was a pilot written by Linwood Boomer, who went on to create Malcolm in the Middle. Then I had a pilot called World on a String that I wrote that got made but not picked up. Then Bobcat and I were in a pilot called Chief. I've had my hand in more pilots than an Air Force proctologist, really.
Yeah, I didn't realize you had so many. I I only knew of the one, which was World on a String. I didn't know that.
How do you even know about World on a String?
You know what? I have this thing for finding like old things that never happened. Or seriously, that's one of the first things I thought about when I was having you on. Not to bring up something that never happened, but I was like, oh, I like looking at pilots. Like the other night, I was watching either failed series of pilots. I was watching Cop Rock the other night. That show, you remember that? But and I think I started getting into pilots when they had one about a dog, a talking dog. At the time, there was a detective.
Oh yeah. No, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes, and there's a really good actor in that pilot too.
Yeah. I think the guy that
dog.
The guy that I might have it wrong. I think the guy that played Young Frankenstein.
Peter Boyle. Yeah. And there's have you ever seen Look Well?
No. What is that?
Look Well is amazing. It's kind of like Police Squad stars Adam West. Conan and Robert Smigel created it. It's really amazing.
Oh, I will look that up now, man.
Yeah, Look Well is one of the funniest half hours on television, and it's like the show Police Squad. It's just like you can't, if you move your head, you'll miss 3 jokes.
That's a shame, man. There's so many good things that had pilots and promised that never got picked up.
Right.
I'll show. This is interesting because it's a very, this is a few years ago. It's a young you in World on String, and I knew about this somehow, and because I actually follow comedy too, and I knew at that time a lot of comedians were getting things, and I remember that you have at least this one right here that I remember.
Dana,
oh boy,
you sit with Gordon while I go.
Oh no, Thank God they're gone.
You talk? Wendy, the baby talked! Shh. The baby talked!
Oh, it was probably just a little gas.
No, he really spoke. Say it. Go. That's not what he said.
That was funny.
It was funny. That's why I was going to ask you, man. So, I look at this, and we're talking now about, pilots that had a lot of promise and never happened. I mean, what's it? How do you feel when you have something? Yeah, you have something that's going to be successful if they just give it a chance, and then they don't. How is that?
But that happens. That happens all the time. I mean, the business is a business, and it's not fair. It's not egalitarian, and it's not a meritocracy either. It's random. I tell this story a lot. In 1990 something, I was flown to Chicago with 2 other comedians to audition for Saturday Night Live, and the 3 of us went up and performed, and the first guy did okay. I went on second and just demolished the building. It was just one of those things where everything clicked, and couldn't have gone better. And then the third guy went up and didn't even try, just kind of goofed off. And I walked off, and I thought, okay, I just got Saturday Night Live. How is this going to work? And I didn't know it at the time, but the other 2 comedians also were thinking, that guy just got Saturday Night Live. And we were all flying back together in the 3 aisle of the airplane. And I was looking at them over my shoulder, thinking silently to myself, Chris Rock, Adam Sandler, you'll get your chance. Right now, it's all about this guy. And things don't work out the way you think. The funny addendum to that story is my life turned out great. Years later, my wife at the time was a big executive, and she had to go to New York and meet with Chris Rock about something. And when she came back, she said, that story you tell about auditioning for Saturday Night Live? And I go, yeah. And she goes, it's true. Of course it's true. I've been lying to you for 10 years.
Well, you know how things are, man, when people like, oh, man, they didn't recognize my greatness. You can blow your head up and everything.
But I'll give you a great example. Like at the time, that was really devastating, and look back, it's, I out of that, I ended up, the woman I was dating at the time, I ended up marrying and having 3 fantastic kids with. You know, I will have those kids in my life long after whatever fame I achieved on SNL would have come and gone. And you know, you never know what's around the corner. And you know, I'm super happy with the way my career turned out.
No, that's great to hear, man. That is, and you know, that's very inspiring to hear that.
Yeah, you
That's
don't
a
have
great
to be
attitude.
I don't, but I think this speaks to Joyride. Bob said this about Joyride, and it's really true. We couldn't have done this 10 years ago. We couldn't have shared the stage 10 years ago. But we're at a point now in our careers and in our lives as men or people that I can sit back and let Bob have the spotlight for a minute, and then I can have the spotlight for a minute, and he can have the spotlight for a minute, and it's fine. You know?
Yeah. So you think your mind's just in a better place right now?
Yeah, and I'm over myself, and my ego is fine, and you know, I'm not worried about it.
If I may ask, so you
sometimes you're in the parade, sometimes you watch the parade.
No, again, that's a really great attitude to hear, man.
Yeah.
That you're so grateful for what you have. And I mean, it's not, and hey, look, what you have is not bad. I mean, your family, that you definitely, you know, have that.
No, I wouldn't trade places.
But your career is in a good spot, man. A lot of people.
There are only 17 people I would trade places with.
Name one.
No, I wouldn't trade with them.
No, your career is in a great spot, man. I mean, you probably have a lot more freedom to do what you want to do than a lot of people out there, you know. So,
well, that's the goal, is to be able to do what you want when you want it. I mean, that's really the goal, and I'm very, very, very fortunate that I get to do that by and large.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just let a dog in that's driving himself insane trying to get in.
Sure.
And then I gotta go pick up my daughter at school.
Sure.
Which is the great equalizer.
Well, this has been nice, people. I'm letting him pick up his dog right now, but as I said, you know, I love the insight that I've been getting here. These folks, man.
You're exciting my life is.
Well,
sorry
you know
about that.
If it's any.
I don't have a staff here to do these things with. I'm just on my own.
Oh, you're letting your dog in. I got a dog on my lap the whole time I do these
hey,
things.
There he is. I had one of those that just came in. I
Yeah.
have a little Chihuahua and a big golden retriever.
Nice. No, we have 2 Chihuahuas here, man, and this one sits on my lap every time I do an interview. And by the way, I'm going to tell you something. You say there's about 17 people that you would kill to be. There's a lot more people that I would kill to be, and you just made the list, man. So
I used to say the first thing I did when I got divorced was get a Chihuahua because I missed getting yelled at.
And you have one, man, just in case. I will ask you.
And by the way, I'm kidding. My ex-wife didn't yell at me. She was great.
No, I never assumed. I figured you were just joking. You know, I will ask you just one more thing before you go, because it's just been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
So what do you think it is? Because you've seen this before, obviously, you've had this experience. What do you think it is that makes people make those decisions when they have the obvious choice right there? This person's talented, they're funny, they're going to be great for the job, and then all of a sudden they baffling, in a baffling kind of way, they go with something else. Why?
A lot of it is. Well, if it, in the case of Saturday Night Live, they chose wisely, because I went on with like 3 or 4 very specific characters, and I think that they felt I was a little too formed already. And Chris and Adam were more clay to be molded at that point in their careers. And that's not a negative on either one of them. They're both brilliant and both great guys, which is nice. And I don't know if I would have done well in that environment then. And they really flourished in it. So you can't blame them. But yeah, I've cast shows, and I had a show called Stand Against Evil, and I knew exactly who I wanted in the lead. And That actor was not available. My second choice was John McGinley. John McGinley came into the role, and in a half an hour, I was like, thank God I got John McGinley.
Yeah, no, I you know what? I'm sorry to bring this up because I've seen this show, and this it's funny, man. It's very funny, you know, and so it's, I guess you don't. Yeah, when you're put in that position, I guess you have a better understanding of what people have to go through.
We don't always and you don't always know what you want.
Yeah. Well,
you don't always know what you want.
Well, it seems like I said, man, everything, it is true when things work out for the best. I mean, you have a great family, great career. I mean, you can just tell from all the stories and the humbleness that you've had behind that, man. You've been seriously, you have been you've been great to talk to. And
thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
And again, I know people say you shouldn't say I'm sorry so much, but I do apologize for.
I don't even remember. I didn't even remember that. It's fine.
Okay, then. All right.
I have a podcast. I have to bug people every month.
Okay, so you know how it goes. Well, hey, man, I know that speaking of your family, you got to go pick up the kid and everything.
I do.
So,
I gotta pick up my kid.
Yeah, so I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And again, I look forward to especially the horror stuff that you have coming up.
Thank you.
Man. Thank you very much.
Hopefully there'll be more of it. See ya, buddy. I appreciate it.
See ya. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
And I guess I got to end the meeting.
Yep.
So.
Okay. Well, I'm going to sign out. See ya, buddy. Thank you.
Right, see ya. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh. Well, again, got some great stories there, man. Some great behind-the-scenes stuff I did not even know until the last minute. You know, all these relationships between these performers, the stuff that they're doing, and the history behind that. The Saturday Night Live story that Dana told, that kind of blew my mind a little bit, man. It's really, really, really great to hear those kind of things. And again, that's all because of you guys out there making it possible. So I really do appreciate you supporting us enough to where I get to meet all these wonderful people. And I hope you enjoyed the interview. As with all these interviews, man, I hope you walk away learning something, because I certainly did. I hope you were entertained by their stories, and I just hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, man. So, with that said, hey, I'm open to you as much as you like all the time. K Cool Mans. Did I just turn that? I sure did. Damn, I had a smooth ass segue too. Let's try that again. kcoolmans@gmail.com. That's KCOOLMANZ@gmail.com. You email us with any kind of questions, comments, compliments, insults, input, and advice. Hit us up on those social medias: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And if you find yourself here in Austin, Texas, hey, I'd love to hang out with you. But can you do me a favor? Can you be safe with it? And can you just let us know ahead of time before you just come running up in here? Not that I don't want to hang out with you. I just want to, give it a head. I'm a busy man, and I also value my life. So kcoolmans@gmail.com. Let me know if you're moving here, just passing through, and I would love to hang out with you. All right, everybody, that is it. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you are listening to or you're watching this, goodbye and stay toasty.